she's my big sister, but like when we fight, we fight. Now, my life is on the line, my freedom. I can go to jail.
You is not going to jail.
She has had me in jail before. She thinks it's funny. I already been to jail for you.
I know.
I was letting him crash at my house, and he never paid rent, and he borrowed $2,000 that he said he would pay me back the next day.
I had a problem with substance abuse.
Plaintiff Nicale Noodles Stevenson claims her sister is a deadbeat and a criminal. She's suing for $4,337 for unpaid parking tickets, traffic violations, and emotional distress. Defendant Tiffany Tyler says her sister received the tickets, not her. She claims she owes nothing.
The whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes, it is.
Thank you. Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning, Naj.
This is case number 053 on the docket, Stevenson versus Tyler.
Thanks.
You're welcome, Judge.
And welcome both of you here. We are doing this virtually, makes it a little more interesting. We have the plaintiff, Nicale Stevenson, and they call you Noodles?
Yes, Noodle.
How come they call you Noodles?
My dad gave me that nickname. My grandmother says because he fed me a lot of noodles, but I really don't know.
And then we have Tiffany. And what's going on in this case is that your sister, Nicale, is suing you for $4,337 for unpaid traffic tickets, parking violations, and what she calls emotional distress. Okay, all right, go ahead.
Let me tell you about my family first, Jerry. We're a soul food family. We come together over food and break bread, but like when we fight, we fight. Now this is like a fight because my life is on the line, my freedom. I can go to jail and behind these tickets not being paid.
It sounds good. You is not going to jail.
So what happened?
I'm gonna say February 2019, she came to me and she asked, she told me she was gonna get a car and she couldn't get it registered in her name because she didn't have a license. And I had a license.
Tiffany, why would you get a car if you didn't have a license?
Because I got a really good deal on this car, so I bought the car.
Okay, yeah, but you couldn't drive it, right?
Yeah, I know how to drive. I just don't have license.
Okay, but there are rules in a lot of places, like you can't drive a car unless you have a license. It doesn't mean you don't know how to drive. I believe you know how to drive, but if you don't have a driver's license, why would you buy a car?
Because we needed a car in the household.
Do you drive the car?
Yeah, I drive the car, and she drives the car also.
I have a license.
Do you have a driver's license now?
No.
Whoa, okay. This case could be really interesting. All right, let's go back to Noodles. What's your deal now? So your sister came to you and said she wanted to buy a car, but she couldn't register it because she didn't have a driver's license.
All right.
So me just being me, I just said, yeah, I agreed. She's my big sister. We're close. I didn't think nothing of
Sure.
it.
Just so you understand, once you do that, you are telling the state that that is now your car.
Right.
And you're going to be responsible.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But
all right, just so you know what you're taking on. Yeah.
But she said was, if anything happens, you know, if she got any tickets or anything came across with her in the car, she would take care of it. She would get the money.
Yeah, I did say that, but I don't think all of these tickets are mine. She's just not going to put all the tickets off on me.
She would get the money and I would go to court and take care of it because it's in my name. There was never a problem with that. I agreed to that. I know what I was getting myself into. I didn't think that she would go and get all these tickets and not tell me until the last minute.
Who's to say that they're my tickets? That's the thing about it.
They
Normally when you get tickets,
how much
they
do you,
put tickets on the car. I ain't never came outside and seen
Tiffany, let me.
Okay.
How often do you drive the car? In other words, where is this car? Is it with her or is it with you?
It's with her.
Okay, so
she drives it whenever she needs it. She drives it whenever she needs it.
No, I drove it when I could, when she was there. She used to be gone all the time. Some days she would just leave the car at home and have the key too. Didn't offer me to, if I needed to use the car today, you know?
Okay, so you would drive it once in a while?
Yes.
More than once in a while. Way more than once in a while.
When tickets were gotten, no matter which one of you got the ticket, or were driving the car when the ticket was issued, when you get a ticket that's unpaid, doesn't it get mailed to your home?
Yes.
The evidence that you submitted to me, every one of these notices, is your address.
Yes.
Okay, so why wouldn't you say, hey, wait a second, I wasn't driving the car that day? You know, so that's my question. How did it get built up to such an amount that now all of a sudden you're in a lawsuit?
I believe that some of the mail got lost in the house. I believe she was hiding some of the mail, trying to not tell me about the tickets.
Hang on, Miss Tyler. Miss Tyler.
About the tickets. And when I finally got one of them, and I called, and it was for the failure to obey parking sign, it was the final warning. They said my license would be suspended, and I wouldn't be able to register a car, and I will have a point on my license if I didn't get this taken care of.
I don't think I got that ticket. That ain't my ticket that she talking about. That's talking about her license gonna be suspended or final or whatever it is.
Okay,
I ain't get that ticket.
Okay, well, Tiffany, in fairness, you may not even know because the notice didn't come to you. I understand if it is like if you were pulled over for, which you weren't, but if you were pulled over for drunk driving or you were pulled over for speeding or something like that, you would remember that. But if there is a parking ticket and the notice gets sent to your sister's place, so
well, I thought
you
they
can't
leave
say for
tickets on
sure.
the car, Jerry.
You're telling me, because you're under oath, you're telling me that none of these tickets listed here on these dates, you were never driving the car on those dates. That's just, honestly, that's hard to believe if it's basically your car. Not that she doesn't drive it sometimes. When you get stopped, don't they ask for your driver's license? A police officer comes over.
Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. It depends on the officer.
A police officer pulls you over, anybody over, and doesn't ask for the driver's license?
No, not if you
That
could tell them
seems-
the name and everything that the car is registered to and the date of birth.
Well, yeah, but the only reason they know the date of birth is because you're handing them your license.
No.
They want to know
ask
that,
you your
know,
name
the first
and-
thing they pull over says, can I see your license? Then they usually walk back to the next car and maybe look it up to see if there are any violations.
And I also do have a driver's license and an identification card, and my identification card was missing at one point. So I don't know, and I'm
That's
not
why
going to sit
these
here and
tickets
yell.
are not mine.
I'm
They're
not going
not
to sit
all
here
mine.
and say that she
It don't
used my
matter what
name.
she say.
I'm not going to say she used my name, but hey,
Yeah.
you can't put it past her.
You can't put it past me. Wow, okay. But they're not all my tickets.
They're not all your tickets. That may be fair. But I
Well-
don't know that you can stand there and say none of these are your tickets because the truth is there's no way you would know. I am amazed with you, Noodles, that all these could come to your house or where you're living when they saw your address. No one, your mom or who's ever living there with you, doesn't, when the mail comes, wouldn't they then say, hey, this is yours?
Yeah, they did at one point, but not in the beginning, Jerry. I don't know what happened. I really can't say it.
Yeah.
So
All
you
right.
said I was taking this stuff, hiding it. Come on now.
But she always has
Yeah.
problem with the family with borrowing money and not paying it back. So
She
you know,
said. So she said. Let's talk about
this
my
is-
edge control
no,
and my
let's talk
stuff that
about
she comes
jail,
to the
Jerry.
house and she uses
Jerry,
and
'cause-
she just takes. She drives
right.
the car. She doesn't put gas
I need to
in
say
it.
one thing, Judge Jerry, before we move on, because
Yeah.
I can go to jail. My license can be suspended. She has had me in jail before, already.
What did you go to jail for?
Assault with a deadly weapon. Yeah,
Whoa.
yeah, that's what it was. She thinks it's funny, but it's
I
not.
don't
I'm
think
I'm
anything is
31 years
funny.
old. She's my big sister. She really, I felt like I a lot of things I wanted to do in life, I can't do now because I have that on my record. I already been to jail for her. I already been to jail for you.
I know it. Come on.
So, you know, now, and I feel like she doesn't care
yeah.
about this
I do
because
care. I
she
do care. I
hasn't
love
put
my
any
sister.
effort into doing anything
I
to
do.
put any money towards any of these tickets to stop me from getting my license suspended for
Well,
getting
why
a
she ain't
warrant
tell me
out
about
for
this
my
lady when
arrest.
we go to the nail shop?
Okay.
And we buying shoes.
Why would I have to tell you that? You know your responsibility. You know you have tickets. Why do I have to tell you and remind you? Why are you trying to do these
So you
fun
went to
things?
jail for her for having a deadly weapon?
Yes.
Why would they put you in jail if she's the one that used it?
We were in Vegas, and I was raised in Vegas. She came out there to visit, and it was a big old riot with the neighborhood, and whatever happened, I left from over side of town. She stayed over there with my family. It was a big riot. Something, she went outside with the gun and just shot it in the air, maybe, she says. I think that's what happened. Or maybe she didn't even shoot it off. She just had it outside, and then someone saw her and they called the police, so she ran in the house. But everybody in the neighborhood knows my name. So it was Nikki's sister, Noodle's sister, Nicale's sister. Like, they kept saying my name and never her name. So they came and got me. They raided my house and took me to jail. We told them it was her. You know, the judge doesn't want to hear that. They got who they got. So we tried to tell him it was her. She even confessed and told him that it was her, but I still had to take the rap and stay 2 months in jail for something I didn't do. She thinks it's a joke. Like,
I don't think it's a joke, Noodle. I don't.
Okay. Do you feel badly about this, though?
Yes, I feel very bad. I mean, because we sisters. Like, at the end of the day, like, she move, I move. Like, it's nothing, like, but I don't know.
Okay, clearly the car is mostly yours. Tiffany, you're the one, you know. In fact, the whole deal was so that you could actually have the car.
Yes.
You got your sister involved. This is basically your car. You drive it most of the time, certainly more than her. The car is with you. The chances are most of these tickets, maybe not all of them, but most of them probably are yours. You're the one driving the car. And your sister really helped you out by doing that.
Yes, she did.
On the other hand, then I go to you, Noodles,
Yes.
and I say, hey, this is a consequence of, I mean, now you know you just can't be doing these things,
yes.
even if you think you're helping out your sister, because you basically told the state something which wasn't true. You said, hey, you made them think that's your car.
Right,
when you
right.
first did that for her.
Right.
And we can't have people doing that because then these situations
happen.
arise here. You adopted, in a sense, all the issues that come with that car. The unpaid tickets and the penalties with it amount to $2,310. I'm throwing out the emotional distress part, not because there hasn't been distress here, but you're both somewhat culpable for this whole situation.
Right.
So therefore, I'm going to permit the plaintiff to recover $1,540. Judgment for the plaintiff, $1,540.
thank you, Judge Jerry. I felt Judge Jerry's ruling was fair. I don't have any complaints. I'm satisfied. Thank you, Judge Jerry.
I think Judge Jerry's ruling was all off. I think I shouldn't have been paid for nothing, period.
Plaintiff Justin Cledasti claims his former friend is a deadbeat and a drug addict. He's suing for $5,000 for unpaid loans, back rent, and car parts. Defendant Timothy Anderson claims it was clear that he was flat broke, and the plaintiff never expected to get paid back. He says he owes nothing.
The whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Good morning, Your Honor.
Morning, Najee.
This is case number 072 on the docket, Cledasti versus Anderson.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge.
And let's see what we have here. We have the plaintiff, Justin Cledasti. Justin, why don't you start?
I'm suing Tim just for car parts. Back in 2018, I was having some work done to my car. I gave Tim my BMW to work on, and in the process, he ended up driving it because his car was broken down. He ended up driving it for 7 months while he was fixing it / using it. I had an extra vehicle that I could use, so it was no problem. At that point in time, at the end of the 7 months, Tim ended up crashing and totaling the car. Accidents happen, everything, our friendship wasn't hurt by it or anything. And then moving forward, I ended up breaking up with my ex-fiance, and I have a large mortgage that I needed to pay. And Tim was kind of down on his luck, so I asked Tim to move if he wanted to move in, and we agreed upon $450 a month. Throughout that time period, he never paid rent.
Let me just ask you a question just on that point. You're saying that when you offered and he accepted the idea of moving in with you, if you had agreed that it was $450 a month, wouldn't at some point you raise the issue, hey, wait, you didn't pay last month. Oh, now you didn't pay for 2 months. Oh, now you didn't pay for 3
I
months.
was kind of being the good friend and letting him crash at my house and have his own bedroom and have a place to live.
Did he ever tell you that he wasn't going to pay the rent?
No, he never specifically said that no, I'm not going to pay or I can't pay. In the process of living with me, he would borrow money for gas, tow trucks, parts for cars that he was working on in my driveway, random bills, and the largest one was for $2,000 that he said he would pay me back the next day, and then I ended up buying.
Just if he never was paying you the $450 a month rent that you had said, you know, was fair for him to pay, when he asked for another $2,000 as a loan, why would you think that he'd be able to pay you back the next day $2,000 when he hasn't even paid you the rent yet?
The $2,000 that I borrowed him was in like the first week of him living with me, so the conditions were never set up until after the fact.
What's your answer? What's your case?
When I first moved in with Justin, I was, told that, it was kind of to help me out, get me out, back on my feet.
You're saying the sum of $450 never came up before, that he's just now pulling that out of the thin air? There must have been some discussion about $450 a month.
Yes, there was, Your Honor. Basically, that I would get up on, back on my feet, and then once, I was, working full time and essentially financially stable, I would, start paying the $450. I started doing some side work. I started doing some work on his car, and he knew that I wasn't, financially stable enough, to essentially start paying the rent.
You stayed at his place for 5 months. You borrowed money from him. That's not in dispute. The question I would put to you, Justin, is does he have an argument, even though he didn't state it, does he have an argument that because you weren't holding him to it each month, did you waive that? Or were you simply saying, you're going to have to pay, but I'll give you time to pay because I know you're going through a rough patch right now?
I never agreed upon him not paying it. I mean, I brought it up to him every month. I wasn't going to throw a friend since elementary school on the street.
Here's what I'm concluding. Regarding the rent and regarding the loans, I believe you are obliged to pay that. I'm not charging interest. I'm not adding to that because of these tough times, but you still have that obligation. Based on that, I'm going to grant the plaintiff the $2,200 he sued for in loans and the $2,250 he sued for back rent. Judgment for the plaintiff in the sum of $4,450.
He was on a tough time, and I was trying to help out, and it just put me in a bind.
Yeah, I had a problem with substance abuse, but I've gotten help. I'm actually in a program right now, and been sober now for about 6.5 months.
Hey, YouTube, thanks for watching. For more Judge Jerry, click here. For more Jerry Springer, click here.